Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
Make it sound like he's talking. All right. Right.
What's up, Candy Killers? You guys are in for a special treat because myself, Screamin E from the Memphis Murdermen, and Oobliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb are crossing the streams for the 2022 horror comedy whodunit thriller Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Woo! But before we get into that, it's time for
Horror
That's right. It's time for horror news. Who would have thought? We did. That's
you got
who.
some real life horror.
We do have
news.
some. I have some other stuff, but I'm like, I don't even know if I want to talk about that because our real life horror news is way better, and we're crossing streams, so it's like, who gives a fuck? We're just gonna do what we want to do.
Yeah, we can do what we want.
Hell yeah.
We won't even get in trouble. No
Uh-uh.
one can tell us what to do ever.
Nope. Or look at us weird or nothing.
No.
We're here to take down the lizard people, and no one can stop us. So yeah, all right. Horror news.
I mean, we don't think. I have a lizard person after me, but
yeah. You may have
like a real one.
Well, I mean, you may have. Well, I don't know if they might be anti-lizard person.
No, I did like a private event and
Yes, you did.
for a lizard person,
Uh-huh.
and he did something really bad when he closed out his check. So because I care for my staff and the contract he signed, I corrected it, and he is not happy.
Uh-oh.
And when I talk about lizard people, this is
Legit.
one. Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name or his
Yeah,
business,
you
but
probably shouldn't.
because he said I kept needed to look. When he said he was going to give us great reviews and we did such a great job, he kept saying to look up my name and Starbucks, and you'll see. That's the only hint you'll get. So today, after I sent him the this is what we did and it's not going to change email, I looked him up, and yeah.
Yep. Well,
and he's always responded to every email within 5 minutes. And when I
not this time.
responded with the contract and why I did what I did, it's been since 4:30 my time, and it's 10:30 now, and I haven't heard back. So I'm just waiting to see like the bright lights pull up at my house.
Just for reference, Oobliette is not having suicidal thoughts, and she
No.
is in no way, shape, or
No.
form thinking about doing anything like that. So
No,
now it's
I'm actually
documented.
like really happy right now. And so, and I actually my coworker, I showed and read her the email and forwarded it to her. And then also at dinner showed my husband. So I think I've covered my basis, but
All right.
yeah.
Well, now it's for sure documented in audio. So
yes.
if anything, yes.
And
You're
you
professing.
guys remember me. Remember me.
I'll avenge you, Oobliette.
Thanks.
Oh, that's something. You gotta watch out for the lizard people.
So I gotta say, so contractually you have to tip 20% for
Right.
an event, which I mean you should, especially if you brag about all your money and how much you really want to help all the people who work. And then
Agreed.
when you pay, find a way to actually like remove the auto gratuity and tip 11% and then write a follow-up email about how great things are, but then
That's
write another email
so
being like, I just noticed this
dirty.
extra charge. I mean, my
That's
response was very fun to write, but yeah, the
yeah,
lack of response back is kind of interesting. But yeah, 11%
that's
after shaking everyone's
filthy.
hand and talking about how much you're going to take care of them and uh loved every minute of it.
Yeah,
This is
man.
this is a this is not like some sort of strip club bullshit. This is like a very large scale wedding kind of bullshit. So
Right.
just so everyone's clear. Um,
Like, I
yeah.
get it if you don't have money is one thing, because servers and all that. If
But even if
I
you
get
don't have money, if you sign a contract saying there's
right.
going to be a 20% gratuity, like that's it.
No, totally. Yeah. But to go back
And I
in,
mean, if shit went bad and you were like, this sucked, you guys fucked me over, I would totally, I probably
right,
wouldn't change the gratuity because I take care of my people. I would just discount the bill
right.
and let my people still make their money. But this was like, yeah, 11% on like a
Yeah.
$20,000 check.
Pretty dastardly, but typical
Yeah.
of said lizard people. Speaking of lizard people,
Super
I mean, the
lizard.
queen died.
Yeah. It's like queen of the lizards.
Yeah. Or did she? I don't
I
know.
mean, honestly, like I can't believe she lived as long as she did because that crown has been being tarnished, I mean, forever, but the last decade has not been good to the crown.
The internet fucked
So,
everything up. People have been able to
yeah.
dig deep and
And
pull shit up.
and also cameras
Mm-hmm.
taking pictures of an underage girl with a prince at Epstein's house. That too.
Yeah.
And nobody
Bats an
deciding
eye.
to throw money at the film to get it back and the negatives. I mean, that would have been a very easy thing to just be like,
Yeah.
dang shit, last night I was really drunk. I took a picture of that like 15-year-old girl that got trafficked in. I should just offer her $1 million for the photo and the negatives. And then I'd never hear
Right.
from her again. But
Right. Here's the
he's
here's
not
the
really the
fucking
smartest.
NDA, and don't
No.
ever talk about this ever again.
Yeah,
But
just pay him off. I mean, don't do shit like that, but if you do, like,
right,
pay them off.
you would think anyway, that'd be the first thing to be like, oh shit. All right, look, here's some money. If you just walk away, everything's cool. Or they
Yeah, I
could,
mean,
I mean,
money does things like paying for trauma counseling and buying houses on the beach.
yeah. And I mean, or they could have
So,
Princess Diana'd her
ugh,
or
yeah,
them. But anyway,
yeah, lizard people.
lizard people. So, all right, let's actually get into your real life horror news part two.
Mine?
Yeah.
No, it was yours.
No,
What horror news do I have?
you were totally hanging out with a horror icon.
Oh,
I
I don't
wasn't
know
gonna
if you
let you
would
forget
say
about
it.
this.
Oh, oh, oh.
You were
Hmm.
hanging out with the Frog Brother.
So did you know the other Frog Brothers sung the Lost Boys song with him that night?
No.
Oh, I've got a video of it. I'll send it to you. It's not, he does not look how you think he would.
I mean,
So
I've seen him within like the last 5 years or so. And
okay. So he's
yeah,
like bald and kind
yeah.
of,
He's like
yeah.
what you would think of
So
like a
I
middle-aged
guess
man.
he lives here, and so does the hot girl from the Goonies, because they both got up to sing with him that night and said they live here or have houses here.
Oh, okay.
Him being dun 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 dun. So I I recently have been not really feeling down about it, but just thinking about how I don't do anything socially other than the rare times my band plays or if I travel to see friends. And so I was like, man, maybe I should, buy tickets to concerts and, do things outside of my house. And I
You did.
now I did. And in between regret and okay with it. So I saw that Corey Feldman was playing locally at this small venue in Woodstock. And so I not only bought tickets, but I bought the meet and greet too. And
Hell
in
yeah.
pure me form, like the night of the show, I'm like, I am not going. I'm just gonna go like find someone to buy these or like fuck it, I don't care. And my husband's like, no. You said you're gonna go. You got on eBay. You bought this fucking like 8x10 of the Frog Brothers to get him to sign. I'm giving you a ride and your friend a ride. Like you were going. And so I was like, okay. Now the friend I went with is awesome. She's hilarious, super sweet, but like if she goes out, she doesn't go
She
out a lot, she gets like fucked up.
she goes out. She goes
Oh yeah.
big.
Yeah. She
That's
drinks
what's
and
up.
she smokes like a ton of weed and just like
Hell
she's like
yeah.
her and her husband both like they go to all the music festivals. Like they are the people that even if it's like 110 degrees at a festival, they're there even with their kid all 3 days, like smiling, like having a blast while I'm like there for 5 minutes, like, what the fuck? Why are
Yep.
people here? Um, but it's great hanging out with her because she literally just has fun anywhere she goes. Um, so we went to go see Corey Feldman, and so like I'm just gonna tell the truth. So like we went to the show, and I was like,
No, please lie.
Thomasina, my friend, like parties, so I'm gonna like be the responsible person. So I only and I haven't really been drinking lately. Like I yeah, it's crazy. I've lost almost like 20 pounds. Anyways, so I have no tolerance. Yeah. So I have no tolerance like I used to. But I only had like 3 drinks and then half of a cider. But so I remember the entire course of the night. And it's weird because it's Woodstock and Woodstock people are fucking weird and the people you see are just weird. That's a whole other story. But
This is just an
all the
awesome
weird,
scene already.
yeah, all the fucking weird. Well, okay. I will get into this. I am so tired of people being pussies. So
Yeah.
this is like a theater with like a very small flat general admission area. Like
Hmm.
60 people packed in, you know.
Right.
And then on the sides there's like maybe 4 round tables and chairs on each side of the stage. And then behind that general admission area, there is like a very nice big bar that could fit maybe like 3 rows of people. That's like a different kind of texture of floor that definitely seems like more part of the bar. And then there's a balcony. So there was a cover band that played that opened. They were fine for a cover band. So Corey Feldman's about to start, and I'm like, fuck it. Well, let's just walk up to the front because like
Why
I grew
not?
up going to punk shows and hardcore shows and even like fucking metal shows. I remember like Pantera and White Zombie having to like force my way through in an
Right.
arena. Like but I'm looking and there's just, sparsely peppered people around.
Hmm.
So I'm like, let's walk up. Both my friends are like 6 inches shorter than me. Like they're really small. And
You went with
so
hobbits.
anyways, right. Yeah. So we go up and they're smiling, laughing. I'm in an okay mood. And I get like a very abrasive tap on my right shoulder. And there's a guy sitting at one of the round tables that I'm maybe like 4 feet from. Like he
Hmm.
got up to like kind of hit me in my arm. So I turn around thinking like something's about to fall on my head or like I don't even know.
Right.
And he sits back down and I'm like, hey. And at first I think I might know him. And I could best describe him as like someone who looks like he did like tattoos in Long Beach in the 90s.
Hmm.
Um, and he was just like, what the fuck is your problem? Immediately.
Oh God.
And I'm just like, this is why I don't fucking leave my house. This is why I don't leave my
Exactly.
house. Like, why did I
Exactly.
leave? And I was like, did I do something?
Right.
And he's like, he points at the woman sitting next to him. And she's like, I mean, she's morbidly obese,
Right.
but whatever. He's like, my fucking wife and I have been here all night and she's disabled. She lost her leg due to diabetes. And you just fucking sit, like, walk your fat ass. He called me a fat ass in front of her. And I was like, I just stopped and looking at him. I was like, are you joking? He goes, no. And I was like, this stage is a half circle.
Right.
Like, where he's going to be in no way am I blocking you at all.
Of
I
course.
was like, at all. I was like, unless I sit on your lap and cover your eyes, like I am not. And he's like, you have some fucking nerve. We've been here all night. And like he's ready to like,
Fight you.
yeah, or like get security or whatever. And I was like, okay, listen, like I'll move a little bit over the side, but I'm telling you right now, when he comes out, you guys will see him. If not, I'll move. And I'm just trying to be cool. And he's like, okay, I appreciate it. It's rough, with her being disabled and all. And I was like, totally. And I even like turned to my friends and I was like, let's just move over a little bit. Like these people are obviously not having fun already and are mad.
Right.
So we moved to the side. And then his wife starts snapping. And I look over, like thinking maybe she needs something. And I was actually going to be nice and like see what she needed. And she's like, you fucking cunt. She's like, now you're hitting on my husband. And like, she starts yelling at me saying that I'm trying to like, so anyways, it's bullshit. And it's this whole fucking like thing. So I just go to the bar and get a drink and I come back and I like try to go to the other side of my friends so I don't have to deal with it. And as I'm trying to get over, there's these two women talking. I don't know if I should call them women, but there were two people talking. And I just like tapped one on the shoulder and was like, so sorry, like just passing by, you do the tap sometimes, like I'm going by. And as I tap the shoulder, they immediately swing that hand.
Oh my God.
And like hit my drink, which is a vodka soda, so it's clear. And some of it like dribbles down their hand.
Right.
And they turn around and they're like, we've been here all night. We're waiting for Corey Feldman. You just hit me. You stepped on my foot and now you threw your drink at me. And I'm like, I can't win.
Dude, Feldman fans are crazy.
Like, dude. And I'm like, can I buy you a drink? I was actually trying to be nice. Like, can I buy you a drink? Like, I'm so sorry. I tapped on your shoulder.
Right.
And then she told me to fuck off. And I was like, you know what? I'm fucking done. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. And I turned around. That guy and his wife were there. And I was like, fuck both of you. And they were just like, and then it was funny because two of the guys who work for the produce company we use roll up and they're both like 6'4". And they're like, can we stand with you? And I was like, yeah. And I put one right in front of that guy and his wife. And I put one right in front of the two women. And I was like, you guys can be right here. And then Corey Feldman started and still they could all see. And it was no fucking big deal, but they wanted to start some shit. So anyways, at that point, I like texted my husband. I was like, I just want to come home. And he's like, dude, just come on. You're out. Just stay out. So first part of his set was kind of like actually, so some of the guys from Parliament live in my town. They were there and they got into it, but it was like pretty funky and not bad. You can tell through years of being made fun of, like they got better. And then like the good part of the set, they did songs from all of his soundtracks. Okay. So they did Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper, and the hot girl from the Goonies was there and sung it with him. But he wouldn't let her upstage his wife who sung it, so he pushed her back to the back of the stage. And then the other Frog brother sung the Lost Boys song, and then they did Stand By Me and had Clip from Parliament come up and just like play it with him. So it was a lot of fun. So then it got into all of his weird original shit that was awful. So
was he doing this weird breakdancing robot stuff?
Oh yeah, he did it all. And he even like prefaced, like, because there was rugs all over the stage because it's a tiny stage. He's like, I just want to let you know, I'm going to put on a great show, but it's not going to be the same because there's these rugs, so I can't do all my moves. But I mean, considering the rugs were there, he danced crazier than I've ever danced. So
man,
Thomasina, my friend who's crazy, she lost her phone, so she went to go look for it, and I went and sat upstairs with her sister Josette, who I was there with. And so apparently she gave me her vape, and I haven't smoked cigarettes in got like 3 years now, but I was a little tipsy and thought it was a nicotine vape, and I took a couple hits off of it. And after that, I remember nothing from the night. And it turns out that she like makes her own like hash resin weed like mixture that is like
Yeah.
100% whatever.
Zilla was
So
fucked up.
totally. So this is what I remember. I remember the show being over and they had everyone line up for the meet and greet. And I remember I like was already upstairs, so I was first in line, which was awesome because at that point I had already texted my husband being like, I'm not doing the meet and greet. I don't know why. I'm fucked up. Like, you need to come get me. I'm not waiting for them to leave. So I get let into this room that's upstairs, and there's like a pool table. And I remember that. And I remember he was there, and one other guy was there. And I remember him introducing me to the other guy as his manager, but then he told his manager to get out.
You're like, what's going on?
So I remember telling him that I was watching his wife play, and I was really actually impressed that she was playing her keyboard parts, and I could tell because I thought she was probably going to be faking it. And he was like, oh no, but that took like years of training. She faked it at first. And I was like, it's really, I remember it. This part I remember like thinking like, it's really weird he's admitting this to me. And I was like, yeah, like I really don't like your music, but usually you put on a great show and this is really entertaining. And then I remember Thomasina and Josette, like, I think coming in. So allegedly we were in there for like 40 minutes, even though there was a huge line of people and he was hanging out with us. I don't remember that. So like, I remember getting in the car with my husband picking me up and I immediately had the hiccups and I was just like, I just kept being like, I don't want to talk about it. But like, I'm really drunk. I just want to get home. I just want to go to sleep. And I remember he kept asking, like, well, did you do the meet and greet? Did you get to meet him? And I kept remember being like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, I just want to go home.
Dude, I'm fucked up. I don't know.
Yeah. So I woke up at 7 a.m. and texted Tommy, like, you guys got home okay, right? Like, I'm so sorry because I just like,
Right.
ditched them. She's like, dude, I don't remember anything. And I remember looking at my purse because I was like, I know I didn't get that picture signed, but it was, and it was signed to Oobles. And I was like, okay, I got it signed. Great. And then my boss was texting me and I needed to send him a screenshot of something I had taken the day before for maintenance. And I looked and I had all these videos and pictures. And like, I watched them. I mean, you've seen the 1E, and I was like, wow, like he is really comfortable around me. He's acting like we're like hanging out. So like I called Tommy and Esther, and she was like, oh no, like we shot pool with him. Like he was hugging us. Like she was like, he got our numbers. He was like, totally like you guys were old friends telling stories. And she was like, and I thought you had met him before, by the way you guys were talking. And I was like,
that's awesome.
No. So yeah, that's horror right there. That's horror news.
That reminds me of two things that happened to both me and Shotzi. So speaking of the people just being ridiculously aggressive for no fucking reason and just angry. So we go down to LA. This was years and years and years ago. So we go down to LA to see the Queers and Screeching Weasel down to Hollywood, right? So we get in there and I don't even remember the first band or if there was a first band. I think we got in. We were running late and we got in just as the Queers started to go on. So we go down there and we're, get in the crowd, check in and do all that shit. We're down in there fucking hanging out. And then I think it was when Screeching Weasel came on. It was like we were on the outside of the pit and then there's the pit and then there's like the front of the stage. And, shit's going on. And then there's this little who I thought was a male, right? Just doing their thing but also going back into the crowd, and then like when they would come back out they would like just push through people, how a lot of people with punk shows do. It's like, oh, just bowl through everyone. And this person's like, I don't know, maybe 5 foot, like they're small and
that's very small
and like, little chubby, short, fucking like Jason Priestley hair. Like I just thought it was a dude. So after like the second time, they just decided to just, oh, I'm just gonna fucking just put my head down and push through everyone coming from the back into the pit. Like that's
Oh, like a
annoying.
bull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, just fucking just go. Like you, I mean? So they
Right.
do that, and I fucking push them from the back. Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't have to do that. Just go. And they turn around, and I realize you are not a little chubby man. You are a
Yeah,
little
but who
chubby woman.
cares? That is what happens when you're in that area.
Dude, they turned
As someone who
around.
was like a 14-year-old girl in a Pantera pit with a bunch of like 300-pound men, that's just what
Dude,
happens. Like if someone hits you,
right.
they're not being a dick unless they deck you in the face. I mean,
Right. Especially
obviously,
if
but most
you're
people just don't know.
like pushing through people multiple times
Right.
and finally someone pushes you back. Like, dude, fuck, like, stop it. So they turn around and literally, like, will not get up in my face because they were like to my
Right.
chin,
A
but
baby.
get up in
A
like,
little baby.
right, just get up on me. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm a girl. And I'm like, I was just so fucking confused. I'm like, but wait,
So
what?
what? So fucking what if you're a girl? You're
Like,
headbutting people. Like,
yeah,
I
I'm
don't
like,
care.
what the fuck is going on? You can't get mad at people for that. So,
So this wasn't even like touching. This was literally just walking in their safe
right.
space,
Oh my
which
God.
sucks because now I have tickets to like Laura Jane Grace and the Dresden Dolls there, and I'm just gonna sell them for a bunch of money because I
Yeah,
can't. Because I know I'm just gonna walk in and they're gonna be like, "You,"
dude.
be like, "I just walked in."
Like, I just, but yeah, the second thing
It
was
was.
when we went to Monster Palooza and got to hang out with Lita Ford.
Mm-hmm,
Like, she just kind of blew off everybody. It wasn't a meet and greet. She was just had a table, but it was in like a little room. But we just went
mm-hmm,
in and just talked to her for like 30 minutes. Like she just wasn't even paying attention to everyone else. And we were just talking
mm-hmm.
about rocking out. I'm like, dude, Lita Ford is fucking awesome. So that's cool. Mr. Feldman was awesome.
But you
And
know what
not
was sad though?
what?
Like, well, so like I don't know if you have watched that dumb Finding Neverland documentary or
I
like a
feel
lot of
like
the
I
Michael
did.
Jackson
Yeah,
stuff.
I feel like I
Like
did.
I did because everyone made a big deal out of it. And then
Hmm.
when I watched it, I was like, I don't know that he did anything wrong. Like I feel like
Right.
he was just kind of this like childlike person that, as an adult probably said or shared inappropriate things with kids, but like I didn't necessarily felt like he might have molested them. I felt like he just really wanted attention to just show him whatever he was kind of into at the time.
Hmm.
I don't know. The weird thing was is like watching that video with us hanging out and then talking to Tommy and then even like the parts I remember, like it really just seemed like he was like so happy to meet people who wanted to just like talk to him about shit and hang out that
Yeah, I
it
could
was
see
like
that.
you could tell that this dude has been through like some shit.
The ringer. I mean, yeah. Yeah. And being like the butt of people's jokes for like 2 decades. You're like,
Totally.
oh man, people here like they're even if they're kind of coming to my show ironically, they're still being super cool. This is awesome. They're all my friends. And
Well, and
that's
that's
good.
what was funny because like the stuff I remember saying to him, and even when my friends were like, they were like, you weren't necessarily being, they didn't say I was being mean, but I was being like super honest, just
Right.
like, man, like you've been like put through the fucking ringer. But I was also complimenting like the shit he's done and how
Right,
great it
right, right,
is, and
right.
being like, and apparently got into a whole conversation with him being like, fuck it, like who the fuck cares? The fact that you can do this and people hate it, what
Yeah.
does it matter? Like you're
Yeah.
making money and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
Even if
what's
people
the big
come
deal?
to just talk
but
shit, you still got their money, so who cares?
but it's just I guess it's just sad that people that get, into that whole Hollywood or whatever thing and like God knows what the fuck ever happened to him and Corey Haim. Like I believe they probably were, not
Diddled a little
treated
bit.
well. Totally. And just treated, yeah, not only like meat, but like pieces of shit and then like a has been. But no, his craziness aside, like I remember him being like genuinely nice,
Well, that's good.
but very innocent, like a kid. Like
Yeah.
he
Well,
never actually became, and like
right.
he's just stunted or whatever.
Yeah. Well, now you have his number and he might He has yours,
Oh
and
no, I think he has
he
mine.
has yours.
I
He
don't have
might give you a
his.
call. We could get him.
Although I don't know, I didn't look at my phone. I
Yeah, you don't know. Get him on here for Lost
don't.
Boys.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he would actually probably come on.
I'm sure he would. Or
And he's fine. Yeah. But yeah, so that was, yeah, I guess he's a horror icon. But yeah, and if you guys are listening to this and you see that he's playing and you're like, oh, it's gonna be a train wreck and awful, I actually have to say I was fully expecting, that same sort of thing that you saw on the talk show when they originally debuted, but they've gotten substantially better, and a lot of it is super dumb, but I feel like they've finally embraced that and learned how to work on it. And he's learned how to sing and she learned how to play keyboard, and they've hired a couple of ringers from the industry. It was entertaining. And
oh,
just for the segment of like playing all the covers of his movies, if anything else, and bringing in like all stars or people from the movies to sing with them, I don't regret seeing it. It was definitely a Twilight Zone sort of experience, especially since I apparently smoked some sort of hybrid of whatever the fuck it
smoke
is, which I
something.
don't do. So yeah, but I did
Smoke.
that after, like towards the end of the show, so I do remember most other stuff. But yeah, kids,
Awesome.
don't don't vape after your friends.
All right. Yeah. Well, that sounds like some awesome horror news. So now it's
Yes,
my turn, Oubliette.
Yeah, I had forgotten about mine.
Oh, I didn't. So I've talked about this before that I have many interactions with Victor Miller, who wrote the screenplay for Friday the 13th. And in all the years, he's on my delivery route. So I see him fairly, a couple times a month at least for years. And it took me a little while to realize it was him when actually my donut guy told me that's who it was, because I was like, hey, Henry, I saw you outside, did this, whatever, on this street. You live there? He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, dude, I deliver to your neighbors all the time, they're on my little delivery route. He's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. That guy, he wrote, what's that movie? And he was like, Friday the 13th. I was like, oh, shit. That's why he looks familiar. But the way he looks now, he looks way more like Father Marin from The Exorcist, like he's old,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize it. First of all, like I didn't expect him to live where I live. He's like way older looking, and just out of context and everything. I never thought, oh yeah, that's that guy. And you don't really see that much of Victor Miller. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have like a good grasp of what he looked like, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're old. And to me, the 80s is still 20 years ago.
Yeah, same.
So like, he's pushing 80. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
so once I realized that, I'm like, oh shit, man, I should get him to sign something, because we're super friendly and him and his wife are like the nicest people ever. But neither of us have ever brought it up that he had anything to do with Friday the 13th. And he's never, like, I'm always, he'll see me wearing horror movie shirts and all that shit. Never
Not
said
today.
anything. Never said anything. So this time I'm dropping their shit off, and I'm like, dude, your neighbor is my donut guy. And he's like, oh, Henry. I'm like, hell yeah. And we start bullshitting for a minute. And he starts telling me about how the guy who lived, or the people that lived in Henry's house before they moved in, were drug dealers. And they used to fucking sell drugs out of the side window. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy, because it's a real nice neighborhood. But
Mm-hmm.
so he's going on and on about that. He's a super funny dude. And I was just talking to Bob from Time Bomb Toys when I was just back in Pittsburgh, because I bought a Friday the 13th 11 by 17 poster. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, I feel like I should bring it up to him, but I don't know if he wants to be recognized, because some people get that way, especially with all the fucking like shit that's going on with Friday the 13th.
Oh,
I'm
totally.
like, I don't know if he's like into that anymore. Like, I don't want to bring it up because he's never brought it up. And Henry, my donut guy, was like, don't tell him I told you who he was. And I'm like, oh, like, does he not want people to know? Like, what the fuck? So anyway, so I was telling Bob, I'm like, dude, like, should I bring it up to him? He's like, I mean, yeah, why not? Like, worst he could say is like, and never.
He
I'll never
runs
see him.
inside and slams the door
Yeah.
and he never comes out
Right.
again.
So anyway, he brings it up, and I'm like, oh, I know who you are. I just never brought it up. So anyway, I'm getting ready to leave. And he's like, hey, do you have a minute? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, I'll be right back. I got something for you. I'm like, oh shit. Like, what's he gonna give me? I don't know. So he's in there for a minute. He comes back out and he has that fucking 40th anniversary Friday 13th Blu-ray, and he signs it. He's like, oh, what's your name? I tell him Screamin E. So he's like, all right, Screamin E. He fucking signs it. I'm like, dude, that's fucking rad. So everything worked out. Everything came up Millhouse. I didn't have to say some weird shit and be like, dude, I know who you are, and then have him be all mad that I did or whatever. But he did it.
Right.
I got some cool shit. And it was like, he's like, well, maybe around Christmas I'll have you come in and take a picture with an Emmy. I'm like, yes, I will take a picture with your Emmy, Mr. Miller. Like, what the fuck? So
That's
now we're
really
like
cool though.
best friends. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it seems like so cool. We both have new best friends.
Yeah. And that was pretty rad. But dude, it's such an awkward thing when you go. It's one thing when it's like maybe a few months or maybe once or twice when you see a person, you know who they are, but neither of you say anything. But this has been like 4 years, and neither of us have ever brought it up. I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I want to real bad, but you don't want to.
That's a long time.
That is a long time, and sometimes people get fucking burned. And they're like, I don't want to fucking deal with weird fans. I'm like, but it's awesome for both of us, Oobliette. We're awesome.
Oh, I thought you meant for like it came at Millhouse for him too. I was like,
I mean, yeah, he does know
I'm
me
sure
now.
he's glad that you know who he is, but I don't know if it came at Millhouse for him.
Yeah, well, I think after so long, he was kind of like, why the fuck isn't this guy
Just
saying
saying
anything to me? Like, doesn't he know who I am? So I broke him inadvertently. I broke him and made him admit it. I win, Victor
Okay.
Miller.
You won. You should just send him a postcard that just says, I won.
I should, or just stick it to his door.
Yeah, with
Like
a
a
knife.
knife.
I won.
That'd be great. But yeah, so that's
Yeah.
my horror news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess so. I had real horror news, but
I mean, yeah, go
another
ahead.
time.
You could drop it. Go ahead, drop
Well, mine was just Disney related.
it. Okay.
So first off, the Haunted Mansion movie, the new one, is coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fucking crazy, and it has Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, with Crystal Ballhead, Winona Ryder is in it, Jared Leto is in it.
Oh, geez.
Jared Leto is the Hatbox Ghost.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's like a serious all-star cast, and this is going to be like the main, like real one they're finally doing. But the main one that I thought you might know about and be excited about is for Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
Disney Plus is going to do the Marvel storyline Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
You should really watch the preview of it. So they're going all black and white.
I like that.
Super, super old school. And the actor they got to be the main character is Gael Garcia Bernal, which he was in like Y Tu Mama Tambien, and he's been in so much stuff.
The
He's been in
name
a lot
sounds
of
super familiar, but I can't picture him.
If you looked at him, you would know exactly who he was. He came up in some of the independent Hispanic films years ago, and then since then, he was one of the characters in Coco. He's done some other kind of mainstream movies. He's a really, really great actor. But the trailer was just released at the D23 event, and it was funny because I thought a lot of the other stuff would make me more excited, but this was the first, like this was the biggest one.
All right.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah, I recognize him.
He's been in some stuff, but
Right.
he'll be good. But the whole premise, I mean, watch it. It's kind of like it looks like an event with a bunch of rich people, and no one knows who's going to be the creature.
Right.
But
Okay.
you basically have to make it through the night in this big property, and they don't know if it's going to be a werewolf. They don't know what kind of creature it's going to
Right.
be. That's like the whole fucking thing is like you're in this room with a bunch of people, and somebody is some kind of monster, and it's like a survival. And so it's going to be, I think, a couple hour long
All right.
thing, but it looks cool.
All right. That sounds pretty cool.
It got me excited with all the piles of shit that have been coming
Yeah.
out. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like Marvel money and Disney money is there. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've been doing some great stuff. And even the stuff they've been doing that's okay is still better than most stuff. So I think they'll probably
Well,
make it
there's only one way to
interesting.
find out, and we'll have to watch it
There
to do
is.
so.
I mean, I'm gonna be watching it.
There you go. All right. Well, anything else?
That's it.
That's it. All right. That's it for all right. Let's get into Oubliette's favorite movie that she mentioned at least 3 or 4 times for me to watch. And I finally caved in and was like, all right, I'll watch it.
Okay. To be clear, I kept mentioning it because so we had another episode to record that we still will, but because
Mhm.
of circumstances, we are not able to right now. And the other option, albeit being a weird movie, I just felt like it may not be that fun of an episode, which is funny because it was glorious. And you would think a horror movie about a glory hole, we would make an awesome episode on, and maybe we will with someone else. But I felt like A Crossing Streams the one that I really tapped out through most of it. So, but if we do an episode, I can watch it again and feel it. But this particular movie, I was just feeling like I needed to go to the movie theater, and there was like 3 movies I wanted to see, and none of them had a time I could see them that night. And my husband and I had already committed to like we're gonna go to the movies. I had my popcorn bucket that gives me like the $5 refills ready to bring.
Hell
'Cause I'm
yeah.
that person. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way you go. And I was like, fuck, man. It was either some like romantic movie that was not gonna happen, like a drama, or it was Bodies by His Bodies. And I was like, well, look, it's got some like kind of decently ranked actors.
Right.
A24 is definitely hit or miss,
Yes.
but they've had some okay ones lately. And a couple of friends online had wrote that it was really, they thought it was funny. Friends that I don't always agree with, but I was like, it's going to be at least like watchable.
Right. Right.
So I've now made 2 men from Pennsylvania watch this movie who probably both equally hate me for it. But
Well,
yeah.
like I didn't even know what the movie was. I didn't know what the movie was. I knew what it was when you told me about it, but when it first came out, I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck this movie is. All I did know is Skeet Davidson was in it, and I hate
Yeah.
him because I
Oh yeah.
am Team Kanye all day. And I
I'm
think
not team either of them. I'm waiting for her to like get with Kate Beckinsale or like someone
yeah, but
else.
fucking Pete Davidson, I think is I don't know. There's something about him that I do not like and do not
Is it
trust.
that BDE?
Yeah, not even. It's that like I don't know.
I'm
Just a,
sorry, but he's just not attracted to me. And anytime people
no.
talk about him and then they mention that, it's like I would never. I don't. Well, one, I don't fucking care, and 2,
Right.
like even if his penis was the most magical, beautiful thing, everything else fucks that up. So I don't.
100%.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
then all these celebrities like came to his defense with people being like, "Really? She's dating him?" And I'm like, he looks like
He's
I
weird
don't know.
looking.
I don't know. He's just a weird. He's fucking weird,
Yeah,
and
like
he
I
just
just
seems like he sucks too.
yeah, he does. That's what he seems like. He sucks. I never found him funny. I don't know. I just never
I
liked
liked him
him.
in King of Staten Island because I think he played it like
Played himself.
himself
Yeah,
and made fun of himself. So I liked it okay,
right.
but
So
it still wasn't great.
right, but yeah. So I was just like, dude, I'm not contributing to anything he's
I
doing
liked him in
because
this.
I'm Team Kanye. Yeah, I mean, it was
He played himself again.
yeah. So I just wrote it off. But you were like, after the third time mentioning it, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna try and find this thing and let's fucking get into it. So yeah,
But we
it's
like talking shit about
we
people, so
do,
it's
and I was
great to
like,
talk shit
well,
about the young generation. And this
yeah,
is a great movie.
yeah, this is for sure. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's directed by Helena. Was it
I don't fucking know
Raisin?
whoever
Raisin?
that is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of stuff, but nothing I've ever heard of. She was in Valkyrie.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was like the only thing I've ever really heard of. I mean, a lot of it's like romantic dramas and whatever.
Yeah.
So
Don't
yeah,
watch this.
but yeah, let
After
me.
Last of the Mohicans, I was done.
um,
That was it. I
yeah,
didn't see another one.
yeah,
Wait, is Gangs of New York a romantic drama? I like that. Okay.
mm,
I'm just kidding. I just
yeah.
like Daniel Day-Lewis. He's
He's
got the BDE.
he's got something. I don't know what it is. He
What his
played.
kids don't even his kids don't even know he's an actor. He's a cobbler.
Yeah, he did play the guy from My Left Foot in My Left Foot.
And he was still hotter than most men in that. So
Definitely
that's saying
hotter than
something.
Pete Davidson. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about this movie. I'm gonna read the little storyline. So
I'm sure it's complicated.
yeah. When a group of rich 20 somethings plan a hurricane party at a remote family mansion, a party game turns deadly in this fresh and funny look at backstabbing fake friends and one party gone very, very wrong. Which, yeah, I guess that.
I think you didn't like read the commas correctly when you read that, or maybe they
Yeah.
omitted them. Do people use commas anymore? Maybe that's what happened too.
Yeah. I was just trying to get through it because I'm like, dude, all right.
So I was. It sucked because after the first death, I immediately kind of guessed what was going on. But then about three-quarters of the way through, I thought maybe the girl who went to rehab's parents had something to do with it.
Right.
But so yeah, to give a little backstory. Well, I love murder mysteries. Uh, this was about as dumbed down and current as you can
Mm-hmm.
make a murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you love Murder on the Orient Express or even something more recent like Knives Out, you probably will not like this. But if you didn't understand either of those two first ones I mentioned, you might like this. This is like a intro murder mystery for 12 or 13-year-olds.
Like it's kind of
Um,
goosebumpy.
but I love Goosebumps. I just recently rewatched them because one of the people I know here in town, I found out was a writer for
Oh,
the
nice.
Goosebumps show. So I wanted to watch his episodes, and even those are well, okay, I'll give you that. I don't want to hate the storyline because I don't. And at the
Right.
end, because it was what I thought it was, I actually was like, good, because I hope people who were like the people in the movie watch that and realize how dumb they are. But so it's basically a bunch of rich kids, like you said in the synopsis, are showing up at this hurricane party, but there's one that's been estranged from them, and she's apparently one that's equally as rich as the Pete Davidson character, but she, much like most of them, was like a huge drug addict, went overboard, and got sent to rehab. And they actually outed her to her parents and got her sent to rehab. So she had been sober for a while, met this Eastern European girl who apparently worked at GameStop and decided to show up unbeknownst to
Or
them to
so
this
she
hurricane
thought.
party. Right. So she shows up with her new girlfriend to this hurricane party, but they all have like a text string where they talk all the time about whatever. And I guess she hadn't responded for a while. So no one knows she's going to show up. So it's Pete Davidson, his girlfriend,
Mhm.
this other girl
And her
who
40-year-old
dated
boyfriend.
the drug addict girl. No, who dated the
Not-
drug addict
right.
girl. And then another girl with her 40-year-old boyfriend she met on like Tinder or whatever.
Right. And then the other chick.
And
whose
then
boyfriend
lesbians
left.
who show up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then another girl who's
Which-
boyfriend, you're never gonna
which-
follow this if you're listening to this, but
Is I don't know if anyone out there or you, Oobliette, has ever watched Joe Pera Talks on Adult Swim, but he's the next door neighbor of Joe Pera. And when I saw that at the end, I was like, what? Joe Pera's neighbor. Fucking awesome. So, like, the -1 zombie candy corn it got for having Pete Davidson in it got a positive one for having that guy in it. So
I
it
don't
evened
know.
out.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like a weird, dry comedy where he kind of
What's it
plays like a
called?
character. Joe Pera Talks.
Huh.
It's a guy from up in
Watch
Michigan, and yeah, it's pretty ridiculously funny, but like in a weird way because it's weird and awkward. It's like that awkward
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
No, I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the good things about this movie. My phone I put on silent 10 fucking times and it keeps dinging. Sorry, everybody who's listening.
Quit texting me,
Chimes. Or not
Feldman.
Tinkerbell. No, it's my boss. It's the 10-year anniversary of my restaurant tomorrow, so we got a party to set up. But more importantly, bodies. Um, so as like unlikable as these characters are,
And they were very
everything about
unlikable.
this, very unlikable. I mean, just very. And I 100% can say this is the first movie I watched where I felt so disconnected to generations that are younger than me. Usually there's
Yeah.
like some kind of bridge, but this one specifically, especially because the one likable character that they kept calling old was my age.
Yeah.
And dude, do you know who he is? No, from Lord of the Rings. You know who he is, right?
No.
He was the most unlikable person in all of Lord of the Rings. Look at the screen.
Oh. Huh. That
He
does not
was
look like
the
him.
super shitty elf
Yeah.
that I hated. Thorin or whatever. Or Thranduil. Thranduil.
Well, look at that.
Yeah. But anyways, he was super likable. But looking like all that aside, it did have some like Twilight Zone Alfred Hitchcock style like hysteria notes.
Yeah.
It did have some murder mystery stuff, and then it did have like a twist that I'd already figured out. But like my absolute favorite part of this movie. So basically, like someone dies, and then of course, because it's a hurricane, so no one can
Right.
come or go, and they don't have cell service, everyone starts panicking and doesn't know who's the killer or whatever. But the one girl who had met this older man, who is
More
the
mature man.
BMI, who was actually really cool. Like in the beginning, when they're all getting fucked up and being crazy and playing dumb games and testosterone and everything's flying, he's like the only person that's like,
Keeping a level head.
yeah, level head. And then like once stuff kind of got weird, he's like, I'm just gonna leave. So once the first character who dies is Pete Davidson. And so everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. But before he died, he kind of got into it with said older guy. So
Gramps.
of course,
We'll just call him Gramps.
yeah, we'll call him Gramps. So of course they go to his room And this is the part that made me realize how disconnected I am to everyone. So, he's dating this young girl who he just met a few weeks ago, and she's telling him to go out into the middle of nowhere, basically on this giant property to have a hurricane party.
Right.
So when they're trying to figure out who killed someone, they break into his bag. So they find like a utility knife,
Mm-hmm.
A headlamp, since in hurricanes power goes out, and then the real big thing that sets them all over the top is they find a actual map, a map of the area of which they're staying. And not
Yep.
only that, guys, get ready for it. Get fucking ready for it. He circled the property.
Almost like so he can know where he's at.
Yeah.
Almost
So
like that.
So they fucking kill this guy as he's listening to like meditative, like he's listening to meditative music to chill out, and they wake him up and actually beat him in the head and kill him because they're so convinced I don't know, like, I don't know what they thought he was, like a murderer or CIA or something crazy to infiltrate their teenage hurricane party because he had a headlamp, a knife, and a map.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, it was what it was, I guess, but a lot of these
It's
I mean,
funny in retrospect, though.
yeah.
I mean,
Like I guess kids now, goddamn kids, the younger folks now are just like everything is hyper sexualized. Like everything in them, we lived through the 80s and all that shit, and like, yeah, there's parties and people
no,
are
I
like doing or
mean,
whatever,
come
but
on,
it's like
60s and 70s were orgies and everything, but
that,
now,
yeah,
but that was still under wraps. Like
yeah.
the dudes who were hooking up, were not letting people know about that. It was like, no, like, yeah, a girl was
It's
sucking
just
both of our dicks, and yeah, we kissed, but don't tell anyone, we'll kill you.
it's way more
Um,
just like prevalent. Like there's
well, it's
no,
like they just have to let you know they can do whatever they want whenever they want. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, and that already annoyed me, and I'm like, okay, but I mean, I guess yeah, everyone's just getting lit off fucking Molly and having these fucking going to parties and get monkeypox, whatever. So that annoyed me. But the thing is, when it's in movies, it just feels forced to me. Like when they try and portray it, and it just annoys me. Just anything
I have to say
hypersexual.
though, sometimes in real life, people like that, it's forced.
Yeah, well, that too. So I
Like
mean, I
I've
guess
been in situations with people like that like they try to bullshit, and it's just like attention seeking
yeah, and that's
bullshit. Like it's so ugh,
it's annoying as
empty
fucking
and
gross,
weird.
and it's always annoying me. But it annoys me, and when I like see it in movies, I'm like, do you really need it? Like, or just showing it as much as they are. Like, I get it, you can have a scene or
I mean, I'm
two,
glad
but
they made you hate them though. That's
yeah, oh,
kind
yeah,
of
like right off the bat. But yeah, I felt forced. Uh, the other thing that was like bugging me, and I've noticed movies do this a lot. Like, okay, oh my God, there's a killer in this confined space or a killer on the loose.
let's go
Go,
upstairs.
yeah, hey, go change your shirt alone. Like, go ahead,
Oh yeah,
just go
that
wander
one.
around.
And then they got mad at her. They were like,
Right,
"You were changing for a while. What were you doing? And whose shirt is that?" She's like,
right,
"You put me in a room. I just put on a shirt that was in the closet."
right. And it's just like, what in the fuck, man?
The who done it on this was a little too much, but at the same time, like if you've been around people on drugs like that, that's how fucking dumb they are.
Yeah.
And people nowadays on drugs like that, I can only imagine.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, fucking map. What is a map? Oh my God. And they're all gacked out and fucking,
That
So,
made me laugh. I never laugh out loud, especially in movie theaters, and that made me laugh. Like I was taking a sip of my soda and choked when they were like, "What is this?" And they unfold it like it's a map, and the house is circled.
yeah.
It's him. And I'm like, "Oh, children."
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
If the actual hurricane hit the house and you guys were fucked, this would be the person that saved your life, and you're
and
gonna
you just
kill
fucking
him.
killed him.
Just killed him.
The other part I thought was weird was when the fucking Russian chick or whatever she was in the Jeep or the fucking in the car and was going through the bag and then sniffed the fucking underwear. Like, was she sniffing it because that chick's ex was like, she stopped by my house and we fucked in the car?
Mhm.
Like, is that what she was smelling it
Well,
for?
no, there was the. So do you remember earlier when she saw that bra and the girl's like, "That's not mine, it's hers" or whatever?
Right.
It was the same bra.
No, okay. Was she just smelling it to be like, this isn't her smell or
I
whatever?
mean, probably.
Yeah,
It has
it's
super
just
sense. I can smell clothes and know who they are.
yeah, I know,
They
but it was just
belong
weird. It
to.
was just like she's like, I'm like, wait, what are you? Anyway,
In Russia, we do laundry in
yeah.
silence, so we know who it goes to.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
panty sniffer, you fucking weirdo. Um,
Well,
yeah,
maybe she was trying to smell if there was like female ejaculation on
yeah,
it, or
maybe. I
like
mean,
discharge.
like I said,
That shit smells. Has a smell.
I know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, she was like, check her tag, or she told her she could have,
Check your text.
yeah, found another
Which
way.
they never did that, by the way.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no. I did appreciate how at least this movie pointed out like how gross and like pretentious and just unaccountable people are nowadays
Yeah.
for anything. Like, oh, when everything went to
No,
shit and they're just blaming each
and
other on about everything. I'm like, well,
totally. And even the end scene where like the two that like were touting themselves as almost loves of their lives were about to like kill each other, and then a phone fucking beeps or whatever, or they grab a phone in the mud and it's Pete Davidson fucking killing himself with a
yeah,
fucking sword.
that started the whole thing and fucked everyone up. Spoiler.
That's
Uh,
that's the thing. It's like, well, yeah, if you're listening to this, obviously we're gonna talk about the spoilers, but
yeah,
that's the thing. Like, so as much as I hated those people and I'm totally obviously so far removed from this generation, like there were some really funny elements in the movie, but the actual comedic dialogue that they thought would be funny wasn't, because like I just don't like people like that or have a taste for it. But
right. Yeah,
but like I said, looking back, like it does hit some of the old school mystery, paranoia, like whatever things.
yeah,
There were funny moments, so I do almost want younger people to watch this because I feel like it might be a good starter into better things, you know? Like if
yeah,
they like this sort of thing, there are better things to watch. But like,
yeah.
God,
I mean, it was.
it's like Jesus Christ. It
It
was
could
rough.
definitely. Yeah, it was a little rough, and like I think for both of us, we can relate to the younger kids. Um,
I
but
mean, I
these
guess.
ones, like, if we're gonna relate to them, they have to have some like. Typically, there's usually something like they were raised. Their parents raised them to kind of like know about other shit than just what's on your phone. Like, there's something else that they're like, oh yeah, I kind of know about that. Whereas like these kids
I mean, the
were like,
Ukrainian or the Russian or whatever girl seemed to know a little bit more,
right, but everyone
but
else
they
was
all
very
hated
just
her.
social media fucking zombies, and that's like rich
Yeah.
social media zombies, which
But I have to say, like, I work around kids these age, and that's totally,
yeah,
I mean, a lot of them are a lot smarter than that, but a lot of them aren't.
yeah, no, I get it, but
And it's like super scary.
it
I
is.
actually talked about it with a kid I worked with, like about the whole map thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a male that camps.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh no, that was sketchy. And I
Like,
was like,
dude,
you go
when
camping all the time and hunting, like, do you not bring maps? And he's like, well, no, because I grew up here. And I'm like, but when you travel, like, have you never been on a road trip or anything else? I was like, because honestly, E, like, I live in a place that doesn't have cell service in
right,
many areas.
oh
So you
yeah,
think of anywhere in the US,
mm-hmm.
kids, even now here, would like carry maps in their car or like,
As a
know how
backup
to.
because Once
or
technology
know
goes
how
down,
to like star jump to find out like
totally.
which way is north. He didn't even know what star jumping meant. And I was like, well, so if you find the north, I was trying to
Yeah.
explain it. And he's like, wait, he's like, so you can find the North Star? It's like, I
Like,
would hope
yeah, you
so.
fucking idiot.
And I'm like, and this is the problem with your generation. I'm ready for the fucking apocalypse. And you
Right.
just want to like
TikTok
camp next door and TikTok
and
and think
cut your
you're rough
throat
and rugged.
with a fucking sword because you tried to
No,
do
it
what
was a
that
kid
old
who
guy
like
did.
made fun of me for not camping. And I'm like,
I'm like, yeah, I mean, camping's
because
cool.
I don't want to sleep in a tent.
Yeah.
I did when I was younger. And now
Been there,
I
done
have
that,
more
bro.
money and I can just kind of sleep where I want. I don't know.
I have the capability
But
to not have to sleep there, so I don't want
I want to
to.
be like, but if shit went down, I would survive, and I don't think you would. You'd be in
Yeah.
your tent next door.
Yeah, it was it's an interesting movie. I mean, I was hoping they would all die somehow, but that of course didn't happen.
Same.
I was like, God, I hope nobody makes it out, please. But that didn't happen. And another thing I thought was weird. So after that chick's ex, they had that whole issue with that chick's ex, and they put, fucking Ukrainian chick or whatever pushed her over the fucking thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. The Ukrainian chick killed two people. I
Right.
forgot.
And then they run and they're like, oh shit. And they hide and they're fucking hiding in whatever it was, like the closet or whatever. And she's like, you believe me, right? You believe me. She's like, I don't know. You frightened me or whatever. And then she went to touch her. And then that Ukrainian chick or Russian chick bounced and like ran away
Mm-hmm.
and then went outside. And then the chick came up behind her and hugged her and was like, oh my gosh. She was like, where'd you go? She's like, oh, I was just trying to find you. Like that whole scene just didn't, you just said you fucking scare me and bounced and ran away from her. Now it was just a
Yeah, but I
weird,
think that was supposed to be like 8 hours difference or six, like a long time difference.
yeah, but it's still like, yeah, you ran away from me. I'm asking you where you went. Like, oh, I lost you. Like, no, you didn't. You fucking ran away from me.
Yeah, I know, but
It was just annoying. It's like this movie.
yeah. So another thing I thought they never even dove into was that the one girl who went to rehab, they kept mentioning her parents
Yeah.
and like how she was trying to get Pete Davidson to like put her trust back in action and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the whole point of the movie was kind of this hysteria and that, they created everything, but I really thought it would have been cool after all of that shit and them creating the hysteria if like some people would have rolled up and just like killed the last two and those were like either her parents or sent by her parents to like
Something. Yeah. 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 That would have been good.
felt like they could have done more like the hunt with that
Mm-hmm.
and been like, no, let's just fuck it all up and be like, everybody sucks.
Yeah. Cause like everything just got super chaotic at the end and they just really went hard with the fucking social commentary on how the fucking youth are like just mindless fucking zombies when it comes to technology and fucking TikTok and
Right.
this and like whatever. And I was like, oh, that'd be perfect if everyone fucking dies now. Like everybody.
No, like if
But
two old people walked up in like Argyle sweaters and like looking all nice, she looked up and was like, "Daddy," and all of a sudden they were just like, "Psh, psh,"
yeah.
just like kids these days, and
Yeah.
walked off.
Yep.
I would have given it away. I would up the score so
Yeah.
much, so
Yeah,
much.
get off my lawn is what we're trying to
Yeah.
say. Yeah. I mean, I
Or
like that.
just like if you have kids and they suck, off them.
Yeah.
Help society.
Oh,
You will know if at some point they aren't worth being around and just like,
why put that burden on everybody else?
right?
Just do your due diligence as a parent
Yep.
and get them out of there.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I do like I did appreciate the whole who done it thing, and because there were a couple times like I was really trying not to like when I watch movies like this, I try to not
Speculate.
figure out who it is or anything, because then I just start thinking about that too much throughout the movie, and then I start fucking with my own head about it, and I'm like, oh, but yeah. So I just try and kind of block that out. So I did appreciate that ended up being nobody, and it was all because of a fucking mistake, and they just flew off the handle instead of critical thinking critically
So
anyway. But
I am the same way. And I would have, like, when I watch these, I'm actually not trying to. Like,
mhm,
my husband and I are into that show, Only Murders in the Building or whatever.
yeah,
And that's fun. And occasionally we'll ask ourselves, like, who do you think it is? He always asks me, and I just say a random person because I'm actually not trying to
right.
solve it, even though I'm into that kind of stuff. Because if I watch stuff and it's fun, I don't care. The problem with this movie is maybe Pete Davidson was a little too good of an actor or too shitty of an actor in a whodunit, because the part where the man who was our age
Mm-hmm. Gramps.
took the sword and cut the champagne bottle,
Right.
and everyone
Right.
was super into it, and Pete Davidson got mad. Immediately in my head, I was like, this fool's going to be like just trying to do this
Yep.
nonstop and probably hurt himself. But in my head, at that point, I was thinking, like, cut a finger off, whatever.
Right. Right.
But that scene planted in my head Pete Davidson trying to do the same thing. And so when he was bleeding, what was funny is I didn't actually think of it then. But then when they killed the guy that was our age, I was like, I thought back on it and I was like, fuck, I forgot he did that thing with the champagne. I was like, I bet you anything Pete Davidson was fucking out there trying to, like, either do that or like something else to impress someone and like practice it to come back in and be like, oh, a champagne bottle, I could do like a, case of beer or whatever.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I
And then I
mean,
kind of forgot about it. And then when the end happened, I was like, I fucking knew it. Like,
mhm.
so dumb.
Yeah, it
So
was
dumb.
pretty easy to pick out who it wasn't for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It was like obviously
I
not
mean,
fucking
obviously it wasn't the
Pete
one that
Davidson.
was our
Yeah,
age.
definitely not him because
Because he seemed like smart and laid back and was getting young ass and like,
yeah, and just way too obvious. And I mean, a lot of the stuff was way too obvious. I did think at one point though, I'm like, oh, it could be, and they were really pushing like making it
the girl
weird with
or the
the
girlfriend.
yeah. And I was like, no, it's definitely not the Russian chick. It's got to be one of the if it was gonna be somebody,
The ex-lovers.
yeah, had been one of those two. But that's also the kind of what we saw in Scream.
Yep.
So it was like,
Totally.
so I'm like, all right, if it's
I
not
mean, they tried to make you think it may have been the girl who lost her trust fund, like, fuck
right,
this, they're not going to help me, or they didn't, like, they made me lose this, I'm going to do it. So,
yeah. So I mean,
I mean,
they
I
tried,
guess it made you think a little bit,
yeah,
ish,
yeah,
ish. But I do appreciate that at the end of the day, it was just trying to tell you how dumb people are.
yeah,
And
yeah.
any movie that's whole point is trying to tell you how dumb people are nowadays, I can get on board with, because they are. They're
Yeah,
really fucking dumb, like real dumb.
real dumb, real dumb.
Like
So
the
I could
stuff I have to
appreciate
deal
that.
with every day, it's like so fucking dumb.
Yeah, as soon as
But
everything went,
unfortunately, in the movie, you have to watch the dumb people. That's the
yeah.
problem.
And this one, like I said, it takes almost the whole movie until everything like really turns to shit. And then
And there were no boobs, right?
yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think. Yeah. Which is
No,
weird because it was
I mean, there
super
was,
overly sexualized, but at least in the 80s, there's like lots of tits
yeah, there's dude
or
boobs, I
something.
guess. Gramps had his shirt off.
Oh, yeah. He has a very nice body, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But
hmm Especially for being his age.
yeah, I know. People past like 38 are just
Fucking
like
old
wasting
ass.
away.
Um,
Wasting
so
away.
yeah, I mean, objectively, I guess it had its moments, and you're right. For someone that's just kind of getting into this type of scenario in a movie, if they're younger for sure.
And old fuckers like that, because we can be like, yeah,
Fucking
fuck
yes.
you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kids suck. Get
They
off
do
my
suck.
lawn.
I mean, I guess if that was part of the objective, it met it because I was I mean,
Mhm.
from the jump, I was like, God, these kids suck.
The best is I read like some dumb thing about, how they covered up all Pete Davidson's tattoos except for the
Uh-huh.
ones on his legs. And they were like, well, yes, a trust fund kid who was going to an Ivy League school would get stupid tattoos on his legs, but not everywhere else like Pete Davidson does. And I'm like, I don't really know anymore, actually. I think if you look at some of the people nowadays, they just really don't give a fuck about that. They're like, I'm
No.
gonna tattoo what I did today on my arm.
Yeah.
Oh, I
They don't
need to
give a
buy
fuck.
milk at the store. I'm gonna tattoo a little milk jug right here with a
Nobody gives a
smiley face with a single line.
yeah. Nobody gives a fuck about anything anymore, which is kind of wild and kind of awesome that the world has just gone insane, but also annoying.
Yes, I feel like I'm a little too conservative to be okay with all that. So,
Yeah. I mean,
which
it's
is a weird thing for me to say, but
right.
I actually, it's weird.
Well,
Spoiler alert, Monster Candy. I actually think that there are rules for a reason. And
yeah.
despite me breaking them sometimes, having fun when I was younger, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe be good people and, you can still have a shit ton of fun. I have
Yeah.
lots of fun. I've done crazy shit, but there's certain things you just shouldn't do.
um, yeah, I the nihilist in me loves the chaos and is in glee that everything's kind of burning, but the realist in me is like this kind of sucks to actually have to live through it. So
Yeah.
like if I was watching this on a TV or in a movie, I'd be like, wow, yeah, fucking just
No, like Running Man. When I was watching
yeah,
Running Man and Total Recall, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I
yeah,
can't wait till this shit happens. My problem is that we're like here and we're not at like Road Warrior.
right.
Like my entire life, I prepared myself for like Road Warrior, A Boy and His Dog, like shit like that.
Yeah.
So I played some. I do. One of the places I work has young kids. So I played them some of the like commercials from like Running Man, Total Recall, even Demolition Man, which is
Right.
ridiculous.
Hmm.
None of them thought they were like not real.
Oh yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
we
I
talked
can't
about when we
do the.
yeah, well like when we talked about when we did Starship Troopers and
Oh,
how
totally.
that and
Yes.
fucking RoboCop and all those you're like these are now times commercials.
Normal.
Like this is
Yeah, they aren't even exploitation
no,
ish
this is it.
anymore.
This is it. Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
insane.
still have my humor through all this because I do think it's funny. I'm not quite in
Right.
the like this sucks totally yet. And like, but at the same time, like I work really hard and for the first time in my life, I'm making like a good amount of money. And I'm like, is this money gonna be worthless soon?
Yeah.
It's like,
You're like
if
I gotta
so, I'm just gonna stop working and do like, bad stuff
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not gonna matter.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Wow, we went like way. See, I told you we'd talk about this one.
yeah. Well, I mean, half of this episode was us talking about how
Corey
rad Corey
Feldman.
Feldman and fucking Victor Miller was,
Yeah.
and how angry
I
people
mean,
get
that's
for no
worth an
reason.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Then we sprinkle in little bodies by his bodies.
bodies. Oh, all right. How many zombie candy corns are you gonna give this?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, all right. Like I said, we were starting at 0. It was already -1 for having fucking Pete Davidson in it. Uh and everyone else was annoying. But
He died super fast.
he did die super fast. And I did appreciate the ending and how everyone sucks.
He'll suck.
But yeah, they it was all because they just didn't for a second just stop and think about stuff, about anything, and it just flew off the handle. So I appreciated that, appreciate the little twist. And then the biggest reason it got even one zombie candy corn was because it had the neighbor from Joe Pera in it at the end. So that at least gave me something. I'm like, I like that guy. So I'm gonna give it 1.5 zombie candy corns. Like, I'll never watch this movie again. I don't ever want to think about this movie again, but you know, it was mildly entertaining at the moment, even though it made me mad.
It's more entertaining in retrospect than it is in the moment.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
So that's-
looking back, I can find a little bit of joy in watching it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, if you are perhaps maybe even in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, more towards middle life because we're already past 100 now. It's gonna annoy the shit out of you if you watch it, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, "That's right, those pesky kids."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it did tickle the murder mystery a little bit, for me. And even though way too early on it popped in my head what ended up being, it twisted around and made me think it might not be.
Right.
The actors did a really good job being obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might actually be who they are, so I don't want to give them too much credit.
Right.
But I mean, again, there's so much shit being spewed out nowadays. This was watchable.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the old man who is our age, he is a really, if any of them, like out of the whole cast, he is a really good actor.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the star of this, in
Yeah.
my opinion. He did such a great job. And
that's because we could relate to him. What am I, a werewolf?
No.
I
know, but not even the relatability, but that whole scene. I feel like he took the movie away. Pete Davidson, who was kind of like billed as the top star, even though this guy was a fucking main character or one of the main characters, supporting actors in Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, there's definitely there was a level that got turned
he
up.
Was by far a better actor.
Yeah.
And that whole scene when they kill him, and even before that, the scene when they start playing bodies, murder in the dark. Like, it's not that his character is likable, and that part it is because he's relatable to us because we're apparently old. But no, he really was a lot more stable of an actor.
Yeah.
And like portrayed emotions well, but especially in the scene where he's in that like gymnasium or whatever it is where they kill him, like he goes through like a million emotions at once, while they all just have to be like frantic, scared children, which they probably, have experienced.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would give it like a 2.25. I don't think I would ever watch it again, but if I was like hanging out at someone's house and they were like, I haven't seen it, let's watch it, and I didn't want to put up a fight, like I would probably half pay attention to. Like, I wouldn't be mad if I had to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean,
there are movies that I would be super pissed if I had to watch again. This one, like, I could watch it again. Maybe even if I was tired and it came on TV, a channel I was on, like, I would keep it on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're not too far off, so
I wouldn't actively search for it or try to watch it again.
Yeah, that's definitely a big 10-4 for me for that.
But I do like the moral of the story, which is like, don't be a fucking machismo dumbass. Like, who the fuck cares if someone who's 40 can take a cork or the top of a fucking champagne bottle with a sword? Oh, we didn't even mention the best part is after they kill him and they find all the stuff, they're like, well, you said he was a vet. What did he do in the military? And the girl was like, veterinarian's assistant.
Yeah. Why'd you call him G.I. Joe? Well, I mean, look at him.
Look at his body.
Yeah.
So that was the best part. They pumped him up as this like a militant, crazy guy, and he was literally like a
vet tech
lover.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, everybody. That was what we thought of bodies on this episode of Monster Candy Podcast, where Oobs and I got to cross streams. It's been a while, but we made it through. And they say don't cross the streams.
Well, hello.
Anyway, everybody, thanks for tuning in again. and we will catch you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
Okay.
Candy.
Awesome.
You ever dance with the dim light of pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Want some candy?